Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, like the description said, the BSR truck, or the old Gas Monkey truck, Brandon Snyder Racing, brought this thing back to us, and we're doing some more updates to that truck. I'm gonna flip the camera around and tell you everything we're doing to it, but we're gonna make it super cool. Last time we did shift fenders, we did the lights on the roof, we did some paint work on it, and now we're gonna be changing the stance up a little bit and doing some more paint work, and it's gonna be a pretty cool truck, or even a more cool truck when we get done with it. And so I'll kind of tell you about that. And then I'm gonna walk around the shop. We've got a ton of really cool builds going on. We've been a little bit lacking on making videos lately. Me and Tommy have been all over the place doing just busy stuff. Just, we're wide open, we're super busy, and you kind of get into the day, you're like, I'm not making a video, I'm tired. And so we just haven't made some videos lately, but we're getting back into the grind, getting those knocked out. And the next video you guys are gonna see after this video is gonna be us picking the paint designs. So that's coming out in a couple of days. We got like over 130 something submissions. So there's a lot to look at and a lot to consider, and there's a lot of really cool designs, but that's another video. Stay tuned. I'm just gonna flip the camera around, show you what we got going on in here, and the whole shop, because we got a ton of trucks in here right now. All right, so here's what we got going on. Brandon Snyder brought this truck back down to us, and if you'll remember, this time last year, he dropped it off, and we did shift fenders back there in the back, and a rear center panel, and a eye panel on the back of it, and a couple of things. But now he's brought it back to us, and we're gonna be doing even more to the truck again. He's kind of always on a plan, just when they're not racing, he drops it off, and we'll do a little bit more to it every single time he's got some downtime between races. So this time around on the truck, we're going to be doing a single bag front air ride setup on the front of this, and we're going to be taking this. He's got a 22-inch bumper on it, but since we're doing the single bag setup, the truck's going to sit a lot lower. The ride height's going to be lower. The 22-inch bumper is going to be in the way, so that dude's is gone. No more 22-inch bumper. We're going to put a 12 gauge 20-inch bumper on it. We're going to take the fuel tanks off. We're going to paint the fuel tanks black and paint the end caps and do everything black on it. And we're going to run some lines for fuel to his generator that hangs on the front side of the trailer, because he hauls race cars, you know. They got a big generator on the front of it, so he needs a way to get fuel to the generator, which we're going to do. It'll pull fuel out of the tanks, and then back here, because he doesn't use these air and electric lines, we'll actually make the connections there for the fuel on the generator. And what else are we doing? We're going to do some interior work, some interior panels and stuff. We're going to put window chops on it, and we're doing a 379 grill from 12 gauge, so it'll be a stainless 379 grill, and we've got a custom logo cut out for that, and then the 3-piece stainless grill. And if we have time, if it works out, we're going to take these brackets off here, and we're going to take the fender braces off also, and go see if we can get them chromed. And then these lights have been in this truck, I guess, about 4 years now, and so you can see it's starting to get a little moisture in it. So we're going to change out the lights, make those nice and clean, and that's what we're doing to this thing. But before we start working on it, he had to drive in a good bit of rain coming up here. Truck got pretty dirty, so I'm gonna wash this thing off and back it in the hole so we can start working on it probably tomorrow. And then when I get done with that, I'll walk around the shop here and show you all these projects we're working on, because we got some pretty cool stuff happening over here with some trucks. All right, truck's all washed, looks way better. We done kind of a quickie wash job on this, but the biggest reason when the truck gets in here and I want to wash them and then pull them in the bay to work on them, our hands are all over this thing, and if it's super dirty and it's got grit on it and everything else, it starts to leave little scratches and things in it. And I just kind of prefer that the trucks, when they sit in the shop, be pretty clean, just to kind of save from scratches or anything like that on it. And I mean, Brandon's been keeping this truck up really well, and just want to make sure while we're working on it we don't scratch it or anything like that. But she's all nice and pretty and clean now. Not really clean for a truck show, but clean enough to work on anyhow. Thing's awesome. But anyway, so I told you I'd show you around the shop what we're working on. So over here, this is a Desert Turquoise 389 72 inch. This has got a 565 2050 torque, Cummins in it with 18 speed, car hauler front axle, low air leaf in the rear. We're doing quite a bit to this truck. We've already put a 12 gauge bumper on it, you can see down here, and we've got a 12 gauge forward bow tie. We're doing all clear lights on this dude. We've got the 12 gauge mirror brackets. Zoom in a little bit. There you go. And strapless breather kit on it. We're doing painted cabin sleeper panels, painted window chops on it. We're gonna paint the front hubs, put chrome oilers on it. Maybe add grill bars to it, I don't know yet. And kind of doing a bunch of cool stuff. Back here, we've put the Merit deck plate in there with the recessed airline box. And we're doing a Iowa Custom shock box cover on it. We put Trucks lights in the back of the sleeper here. And I think, yeah, there's our shock box cover. We're wiring it up right now. So kind of making some pretty good progress on that one. Over here, we got this pretty cool 44 inch flat top. And we're doing some pretty neat stuff with this thing. So one thing we've never done on a truck in the shop before is painted grill bars. And I kind of really like it. I didn't know what I thought about that idea at first, but you know, looking at it right now as the truck's kind of coming together, the painted grill bars on this look awesome. But we did 20 inch bumper on this. It's a 12 gauge stainless bumper. Painted the front hubs, chrome oilers from Lifetime, strapless breather kit, and we'll put the breather chops on there. We still got to paint the mirror brackets. They're getting painted black. And once they get painted, we'll put those on, then we'll put the breather screens back on the breathers there. Right now we just got the lids on top of it just to keep trash from getting down in there. And pretty cool. Did the 12 gauge cabin sleeper panels. It's like the 379 style one, so the cowl panel there is painted. Dynaflex stacks on it. We're gonna do the smooth boxes from 12 gauge on this one too. We painted the fuel tanks, which I'll show you those in a minute. We should have, I think the air tanks are back here somewhere. Oh, yep. We got our air tanks back here. We're doing black with a red stitch and diamonds in the interior. And then we're changing the whole stereo out too. So we've already put the speakers in this one, but we got in the headliner, but we're changing all the factory speakers out with kicker speakers. We're putting a 10 inch sub and a 1,000 watt amp in there. Be pretty awesome when it's done, all kicker. And then I don't remember what head unit we're doing. I think it's a Kenwood head unit we're putting in it. And we've already got the def tank cover on it. Well, kinda, still gotta put that on. It's all legendary black. Trucks lights in the back of the sleeper. Merit deck plate. Doing shift fenders, which they're over here on the other side. I'll show those to you. And then we did a painted center panel from 12 gauge. We just got our hidden reverse light bracket down there. And then we got our shift fenders for it. Painted legendary black. Like overall, this truck's gonna look really good. Did the Merit deck plate in the back all the way down with our cross member and everything. It's gonna be a pretty slick truck when it's finished. It's gonna have a lot of attitude to it, I think. And then over here, we got this thing, which this truck's gonna be pretty awesome. Y'all saw the video. We did the single bag on it a while back, and got all that done, and then decided that that wasn't low enough. So we've been working on now doing the body drop, and we're hiding the def tank. It'll go back here like we did on Troy Massey's truck. So we're gonna have a def tank up here and twin 150 gallon fuel tanks on it. It's got a bumper flip. Right now we dump the air in it and just kind of set the bumper up there the other day. And she sits pretty freaking low. I think we had a little less than like 1/8 of an inch clearance from the bumper when it's sitting on the ground. It was pretty awesome. And then inside, the inside looks just like totally custom interior in here. Really nice. We call that no interior. This is a no interior option. So we pulled the whole interior out of this thing, and we're going to be doing a whole lot of leather work to it, custom door panels, stereo, all the works. This thing's going to be pretty top notch when it's done. We get ready to do the paint job. We're going to be painting the door jambs and everything. The stripes will go through the door jambs and all that. We're going to put 9 lights, I think, in the back of the sleeper, just straight across. And then it'll have a full deck plate in it. Pretty neat. Pretty neat setup. I'm going to close the hood real quick so you guys can see how low this thing sits with this body drop now. It's like between the fender and the tire right here, it has maybe, I don't know, like maybe my finger would fit in there. It's pretty close. And we're basically, like when we done the body drop, because we make these little shims, we've been just kind of adding shims so we can get, when the air's dumped, that 20-inch bumper as close to the ground as possible. And I think we just about got all that dialed in now. We're just kind of finishing up the bumper flip kit and making that all work. Okay, dump the air in the front end and close the hood. And you can see just how far the tire's tucked now. It bends the mud flap back a long ways. And you figure too, once you get the bumper bolted on this and those plates, so the bumper's gonna sit underneath those plates, she's gonna be pretty low. Overall, the stance of it is awesome. This is gonna be a super cool truck when it's finished. But we're doing a lot to this one. This one's getting a 379 grill put on it also. We're pulling the engine, we're painting the engine, doing a ton of chrome work under the engine, putting all the PDI stuff on it, Dynaflex stacks, box. I mean, like, this thing's getting all the works. Pretty excited when we get this thing finished, see how it actually comes together. But this will be probably this will be in the top 2 or 3. Well, this will be in the top 2. It'll be between this and Bill's legendary truck, the most, you know, in terms of the amount of work done to them. This is going to be right there with that truck. It's pretty cool. We got our hidden depth tank right here and all that stuff. We've already drilled the holes and got everything so it mounts up. We just got to do some more plumbing to get that thing in place. Essentially, there's going to be a really funny video at some point of this truck too, because once we get everything on the front end done, the depth tank all put up, our fuel tanks where they go, get our fenders mounted, get all our ride heights, and make sure all that stuff's happy on the chassis side of things. We'll bolt the seat in this truck and we'll test drive it. So we're gonna just like plug in the gauges, let them hang there, probably take the little LCD and plug it in and hold it up in place. But we're gonna do a test drive for this truck with 0 interior in it, and just to make sure everything's good. Because what I'm kind of planning on doing is, we'll have, with the front end and everything else is done, with the body drop and all that, just I really want to drive it, make sure everything clears and is happy. Back here, what we'll do is mount these front fenders in place, in the rears, but then to go drive it, make sure we don't have to do any adjustments to ride height. We'll probably do an alignment before we start painting the chassis, but we're gonna be painting this chassis front to rear on this truck. So there's a lot to do there. And I believe we're also gonna take the sleeper bags and the shocks and the panhard bar and push all that stuff underneath the sleeper, so that's all nice and clean. You won't have anything hanging out back here at all. And then of course they'll have a deck plate, and it'll have an insert piece that goes inside, so when you're looking up this way, all this will be covered up in here, and then it'll have lights shining down for like underglow. It'll be pretty cool looking. I don't know, we haven't 100% decided what we're doing here yet, if we're gonna do T-bars on this thing or if we're just gonna box in between the 2 fenders. Still kind of on the fence which way we're going with that. I don't know, what do you guys think? T-bars or just clean look and just fill in between the frame and the fenders? I don't know, but kind of where we're at with that one. It's gonna be pretty cool. But now let me go to the paint shop side of the building over here, and I'll show you what we got going on in there. And probably another thing, because I've been seeing a lot of comments on different videos about where's the cab over? What are you doing with the cab over? Here's the cab over. It's in the shop. We're working on it. We've been doing body work on this thing, getting some stuff knocked out for the body, getting ready to rip the interior out of this dude, and we're fixing to start on doing all the exhaust, getting all the brackets and everything built for the exhaust, and then we'll move the tanks and get all that stuff kind of tucked under the truck a little more. And it doesn't look like we've done a lot, but we have. Once we get kind of all of the big stuff moved where we want it and everything else, then Mark and Eli can go to town on this thing, and we'll be painting the chassis, painting the whole truck. The interior will be getting all done up at that point in time. And then hopefully if it all works out right, like when we get done painting, the interior will be waiting on us. We'll slap the interior in it. We'll be ready to go. This thing's gonna be super cool. I've already got a grill coming for it and a bumper from 12 gauge. They're making us those right now. And just a lot of cool stuff. Fun things you find on old trucks. So like this dude used to, oh yeah, and I smashed my hand pretty good earlier. Something happened at some point. This has got a little bit of a bend to it. And I guess they didn't want to put hucks back in it, so they did these carriage bolts in there. So things you find when you start taking things apart, we're going to have to pull all these out and see if we can't pull this back a little bit and then re-huck this whole piece together so they're all the same size. You'll kind of see the hucks this big, and then these dudes are huge. So little things you find when you're like taking an old truck apart. I'm sure it's got a story behind it, but she's getting there. The back of the cab on this thing is really not in bad shape at all. You'll see the little yellow tape that we've got here and there. Those are spots we've got to hit like with some Bondo and just to get some little dents out of them. But for the most part, the back of this thing was super straight. Didn't have a lot of dings or nothing in it. So I think the paint job on it really should go pretty seamless. It was a really good truck to start with. So, you know, it's not like we're taking some rusted out pile and trying to put it together. Like the truck's got really solid bones. All right, so back here in the paint shop, for starters, we got fuel tanks painted for the Mathis truck, Legendary Black. Mark and Eli have been hard at it all week, getting a bunch of stuff knocked out. Well, these tanks look awesome. So maybe tomorrow or Monday or something, we'll get these put on. Back here, we've got this truck here is for Brian Hood. We built a truck for him a couple of years ago, I guess 2 years ago, and it was actually legendary gray. And so this one he wanted to go with a little bit lighter color, and we're actually gonna paint stripes on this. It's a double bunk inside. It's a 72 stand-up. But kind of go over a little bit what's done to this thing right now. We did the 12 gauge rear center panel. We've got the Merit deck plate fitted in. We just got to do our air and electric bars right here. And then we got cabin sleeper panels. They've already painted those. They're still in the paint booth, I believe. Up here we did watermelon lights on the mirror, little mini ones. Then we did a 12 gauge visor, 9 lights on the roof. And widen this thing out. There we go. And then we did added 4 grill bars, did a 20-inch bumper with toe pin holes in it, and the rock guards, penny lights in there. So it's looking pretty sharp so far. That's a that visor there is a 12 gauge, just a straight 12-inch visor, I believe, or 12 and a half, something like that. And but when we get done, the stripes on this truck's gonna look super awesome. Painted cabin sleeper panels, fenders. We're doing Hogue built half fenders on it. Dynaflex stacks. Like it's gonna be a really sharp truck when it's finished. And then over here we got Eric's truck. So we've been working on this thing. It's been in the background in a couple of videos. I haven't really ever gone over a whole lot with this yet, but so far what we've got here is a 320-inch wheelbase, 72-inch sleeper. We've already put on the shift fenders. We've got them mounted the way we want them. We've got front and rear T-bars coming for this truck. We're gonna be painting the entire chassis. It'll have a smooth deck plate in there with a toolbox built in up front up here, and pretty sharp deal. We're gonna do watermelon lights in the back of the sleeper and all watermelon lights in the front and rear T-bars. Fenders are gonna go purple. The truck's legendary purple. So we're also gonna paint the def tank and the fuel tank's legendary purple. We've got the 12 gauge wide tank straps on it already. We'll paint the air tanks on it. We're gonna do window chops. We've already done the breathers on this. So it's got the strapless breather kit with the watermelon. Those are the jewel light, the jewel cut or whatever. Pretty cool looking light. Different than your typical watermelon light. I like them. We did the breather chops on it. I should just about close the hood on this to show you guys. I think I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, hood's closed. Now I can kind of stand back and show you what we've done here. So this truck's on low pros and sits pretty low. It's sitting lower than normal because we did a body drop on this. So we did the 12 gauge body drop kit, which consists of a bunch of stuff you under the hood, lowering a bunch of stuff around the radiator and to lower your hood and the bumper and all that stuff. And then you get these brackets right here. So these dudes bring everything down. We've got these little spacers that we use sometimes to get it as low as we can without too much interference with anything going on. So for this particular truck, we got it down the way it's set up about 2.25, maybe a little bit more than 2.25 inches lower than factory, and gives it a real nice ride height. And when the air's dumped on it, it looks really good. We had to do some fab work for the bumper flip kit. That's a 12 gauge kit, and then we've got it set up to work with the body drop. Puts the bumper, we run a tape measure on it, and it was about a little more than 1.5 inches clearance on the bumper once it's all sitting down. Pretty cool looking deal. Up here on the roof, you'll see we've got it all sanded right now, and that's because the truck came in with 5 lights on the roof, and we got rid of those, and we're gonna do 13 lights. So we had to fill in some holes, and then we've already drilled all our holes up there for the 13 lights. And now basically those guys are gonna pull this truck into the paint booth probably Monday. We'll paint that roof cap, and then we'll put the lights on there, and we'll be able to get the lights on, the visor. We're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff on the front side of this truck while we're waiting on the T-bars and the deck plate to come in. But then we'll also be, again, we'll be painting these tanks. We're doing the stainless 12 gauge box covers on it. We're gonna paint the tri-pack to match everything real nice. It'll be a pretty cool truck when it's finished. The stance on this thing, stand back here a little bit, is freaking awesome. And that color is cool because, like, in this shop where it's real dark, it almost kind of looks black on camera, but it's definitely purple. But out in the sunlight, the legendary purple, like, it lights up really well. It's a cool color. So that's what we got going on in the paint shop. All right, guys, that is it for that video. Kind of a rambling video going around showing you all the pretty trucks we got in the shop and all the work we're doing. There's gonna be some pretty neat videos of some finished trucks coming out pretty soon because, well, we got this one back here, the black and red one, and when we get the Mathis truck done, and they're pretty close to it, that thing's gonna be really sharp. And we've got the teal truck back there, and we've got videos coming on Eric's truck, the purple and orange one, and Brian Hood's truck as well. So a lot of cool stuff going on. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram at Semi Casual Show. Hit the bell button so you get notifications. Keep up with all the trucks we're working on. And otherwise, we'll see you guys on the next video. Later.